come as bidden to the heart of our empire. Behold the glory of our capital, where the triumvirate rules. Take heart, bonded one, for in time the Black Spires will come to be your home. We have made a place for your people here, and we welcome them. Take your time to wander the boulevards and admire the stonework. Your bond will warn you when you approach forbidden territory.
Hey, what's going on, Exiles? It's Necron 370 back again with another episode in our Exiled Lands series. And today we are continuing on from what we did last time with the Tower of Bats to the Unnamed City. So very first off, you're going to want to know where to go. It is very hard to miss the Unnamed City. It is this big orange burnt sand area here. Now the main entrance we are entering from is right here, the Dawn Gate. And once inside, we will be going in order through the Archives, over to the Aviary, back down to the Slave Pits, and then over to the Citadel of Trimitive, because I can pronounce anything. And then we will be finishing off at the Spawning Pools. So this isn't going to be a complete walkthrough, mainly because this is such a vast area. There are a lot of hidden chests. Some are pointless, some are legendary, and don't get me wrong, I could spend the time, go through and locate them all, but that's not the point of this episode. The point is to show you what is currently in here and some of the things you can do. So without any further ado, let's get in there. As you come up to the door, on either side we are met with skeleton soldiers who are just kind of not in the prompt zone. But then we have a skeletal knight here, who he is a bit tougher, but not the toughest thing you've dealt with so far in Conan Exiles. Make short work of him and push on into the city. Just after you get in, on your right side here, you will have a tablet. We already read it and went over the dialogue at the beginning of the episode, so we're just going to push on forward. Now we come to the main gate to the entrance of the complex. And there are 4 regular skeletons just waiting here to mess up your day. Make short work of them and move on. Now you might be asking yourself, well, Necron, what is this place? What did they use it for? Well, the ancient race that came before the bonded ones, us, the exiled, they used this place as a seat of power. And after the demise, the dead rose up and now stalk it, as well as other corrupted beasts and some things I'm not going to tell you because we're going to explore them. Over here, you'll find a book you can interact with. It just gives you a little bit more to the lore of this place. Now, there are a lot of enemies you can just downright avoid, and you can just take like off paths and go there, so you don't actually have to fight many things other than the bosses. Make your way down the stairs and we're going to get to the first area we're going to explore. This is one of the main courtyards, and there is an obelisk here that we're going to tune to. But first we're going to deal with the skeleton and the skeletal dragon. Yeah, was not that tough. So as you can see, the corruption area around this obelisk is fairly large, but you're in the Unnamed City. There is a lot of corruption, so you better be ready to deal with it. So you can come up to the obelisk, attune to it, so that after you're done in this place and you make the cartography table, you can just warp back here. So off to the right of the obelisk, there is this, it looks like an entrance to something, but it leads nowhere as of yet. And it is the same off to the left there. The only entrance that actually leads somewhere for you is right back in the middle. So let's push on back and see what awaits us. And here we have the Ancients' Cartography room. So this is essentially what you will be working your way to build. This is what allows you to teleport yourself around the map. And in this episode, we're going to be showing you how to actually achieve it. We will be coming back to this area, but right now there's nothing more for you here. It's more just a place to look at. So we'll come back to it. A little side note, they recently changed the animation for the swing. I noticed this during combat, but let's take a minute to look at it and appreciate it. Very nice. He doesn't do a jump anymore. What about with the light attack? No, light attack looks the same. It's the that heavy one. Is it the same with? I don't have any other ones on me. Okay. Now, after you're done here, now don't get me wrong, you don't have to come here yet. You can actually push on to the areas that actually have something to do with this before you come here. So when you come here, it's not just you wasting your time. But before we push into the rest of the Unnamed City, we're gonna go over here to what is known as the Aviary. Couple fairly easy guys to take on your way over here. Make your way up through the gate after making short work of the guards that are withered and old. You're gonna be met with a couple options on where to go, but for the main part of the aviary, you're just gonna want to press up this hill. Again, you will get flooded with corruption, but that is part of everything in the Unnamed City. So here we have another bat demon. He is tougher than the one we had fought earlier, but again, come in here, make short work of him. As you can clearly see, he is much more difficult. Let's get some bleeding on you. As you can see, this fight has taken a very long time. I've been at it for probably about 4 minutes now, which in the scale of Conan combat is a fairly extended period of time. I have found that using the daggers are probably your best bet, because if you have heavy armor on, you're able to still move nimbly, and you're able to cause the bleeding damage to him, which is very useful. So after we kill him, we get a fragment of power and then some random assorted loot. Go ahead and get your harvesting tool and whichever one you choose, and harvest away. Get the bat skin, or you can hack at him, get some demon blood, or try for his head. I apparently don't have the things on. What am I doing? I don't have the equipment I needed, so I just had the skinning tool. But after you make short work of him, you should be able to come here and open the chest. It's not a legendary chest, just a chest filled with sorted loot, so not much here worth talking about. And once we're done here, we are going to move on to... What are we going to move on to? I know I said over the slave pits, but we might actually go into the Citadel first. That is this big bad boy here. Alright, as you come down around the corner, you will see this little pedestal with stairs and fire surrounding it. Now this is pretty much the part of the story you need to go to. This guy up here will tell you where to go to actually get the cartography table skill learned. He's a nice big guy, but this is one of the ancients.
I smell you, human. The stench of your kind has not improved throughout the eons. Why do you disturb me? Ashes and dust, human. Ashes and dust. All that remains of what we once were. An echo of an echo. In my mind, I still walk the streets of our city. The iron scent of blood as I pass the temple of the old serpent. The thrumming power in my veins as I chant the ritual of summoning. The intoxication and ecstasy of knowledge. Ashes and dust. When the world was shattered, your people came to us as refugees. We were generous. We gave them the wild north. They built a city there amongst the trees and practiced weird sciences and worshipped their demon gods. For 1,000 years, there was peace and trade among our peoples. But your kind is ever seeking, ever grasping, ever multiplying. War was inevitable, and when it came, it was terrible. I see that you wear the bracelet, human. When the war between our peoples began, we created such to bend the prisoners of war to our bidding. My kind are long-lived and slow to replenish our numbers, and as we dwindled in the war, we increasingly came to rely on human prisoners to provide us with labor. To that end, we created the bracelets, to bond your kind, to control your movements, to allow you to understand our language, and to prevent your kind from escaping. But that was an eon ago. To what purpose they have now been attuned, I cannot say. I was one of the triumvirate that ruled this land. The Archivist concerned himself primarily with the collection of knowledge, and the Priest King had dominion over our spirits and the rituals of our faith. My people called me the War Maker, for it was my duty to keep them safe, and for a while I did my duty. I held the northern passages against the humans. Together with the Archivist, I established the watchtowers to warn us of the coming of the humans. They burn still, bonded one. When their color changes, it is because those of your kind have crossed the borders to our kingdom with the intent to slay, burn, and kill. In the end, we were betrayed. During a skirmish in the north, the humans revealed a new weapon, forged of their strange science. It smashed through the ranks of my troops, turning those captured in its blast into solid stone. Those who survived fled south to lick our wounds. During this moment of weakness, the Priest King came to me with a proposal. A new ritual to counter the human sciences. A powerful magic to scour the landscape and drive them forth. In desperation, I agreed. Do you understand, human? In ages past, this was the most fertile land in our empire. And then I unleashed the magic that created the sandstorm. And I lost control of it. I betrayed my people to a slow, dwindling doom. I've been alone in the darkness for a long time, human. Few have come to me over the eons. But there was a man who came here years ago. I had not spoken with another being for thousands of years, and there was a hunger in me for conversation. He did not wear a bracelet as you do, so he learned my speech, and he listened to me talk of this city and what it once was. And for a while, as I described it to him, it lived again in my mind. Perhaps I spoke too much. When I told him of the greatest artifact of our religion, the Serpent Ring of Set, he left me to search for it. And now your kind come into my city again, wearing the slave bonds and disturbing the dead. Time has taught me that coincidences are simply patterns that I have not yet understood.
So after you finished talking with him, he packed in a lot of information, but he did put a little bit of a seed to where we need to go next. We need to figure out what is going on with the sandstorms, because that and the bracelets that tie us here are connected. But in continuing with the Unnamed City, there are a few other key points of interest we will finish, and then we will move on from here.
Haunted One, this is the spiritual heart of our city. Herein, the sacrificial rituals of Set are performed constantly, such that the scent of sacrifice will bring glory and victory to our people. Enter, slave, if you have been bidden to come here, if it is the purpose of your being to be given to the old serpent, and do not allow your footsteps to falter. Enter, slave. Give your heart to Set.
So you can make short work of the snakes or just push forward to the main boss. It is a giant snake. And once again, it is a very difficult fight. It can apply poison to you. I somehow applied poison to it. Interesting. Maybe there's something about the blade. Make sure you bring a lot of health and be ready for all of this. Once you've finally taken him out, grab your tool of choice, either the hatchet or cleaver. Those are the ones I would recommend, and then hack away. Get yourself a skeleton key, demon blood, whatever else you want, and you can also use the cleaver, try to get a snake head. I missed. Anyway, you need to be max level for this, have a key, and then you come in. I got the Glimmer Moon, a glowing axe with a wicked edge. This is actually a really nice axe. I personally like this axe for one key reason. It acts as a torch. Once you're done in the cave, make your way out, and we will be crossing the courtyard over to the slave pits before we get up into the summoning pools, which is up that way. So up these stairs, we'll have a couple easy things to fight. Actually, let's try the new axe out. Why not? How is it? Now, audio got a little weird, but that is what it is. So there's quite a few little guys just chilling out around here. That way it leads off over to the archives. But the only real guy of note over here is this big guy here. He's just a skeletal lord. He is a lot tougher than any of the other ones, as you can clearly see. So it doesn't seem like he is staggered by anything. So it's just one of those fights that you're gonna have to do a lot of work on and hack at it, or get some buddies in with you so you multiply the damage. Oh, makes sense. Undead soldiers can't take bleed damage because they don't have blood. See that? There's no bleed damage being caused. So there's no point to actually use that, unless you're just accustomed to using the speed of the weapon. As you can see, the sun has set, but I still have a light to fight him because of this handy dandy axe. Why this crony over here didn't bother getting involved, I don't know. But once you... Actually, did he have anything on him? Oh, he did. He had another fragment of power, Night Stalker mask. Very nice. And legendary armor patch and some other miscellaneous loot. So once you're done there, you might be compelled to go up that way, but that is actually just one of the back entrances. We'll be going out that way once we're done anyways. Couple other noteworthy people to fight. One of them you're gonna have to climb. It's that guy standing right up there. He has a specialized kind of mace, but the only real way to actually reach him is to climb. Alright, once you get up to the top, there will be a couple of guys guarding the area, not anything you haven't dealt with before. Make short work of them, and make your way to the center of this pedestal. Here's the big Bama Jammer right here. He's another tough knight guy. So it's just one of those fights you're just gonna have to grunt through and bear. Now his axe gives him some special moves, and I have this crazy feeling he would do a crazy amount of damage as well. So this is another very tough, noteworthy guy. And soon enough, boom, you will kill him, and you'll be able to loot him. And like the other one, a fragment of power, and then some assorted other. So we can push down that way, but that is the hardest boss on the entire map actually. So we are actually gonna go show you a couple other bosses to this area. So make your way down safely without jumping to your death. Then you're going to move beside the Citadel and actually come to the back side of it. Now we're actually going to get into some of the dragon fighting here. This is just a small one. It shouldn't be that hard to take out. They are, you know, fairly menacing, but if you just try to stick to its rear, it's not that difficult. Again, the harder ones are the ones that actually are larger in size. I can cause bleed on you, good sir. Harvest what you need, get your dragon bits. Come up this little dirt path off to the side. And at the top here, you'll see this little campsite.
Jakad is gone, swallowed by the darkness and desolation. A winged demon screeches a haunting dirge as it flees with my companion towards the stars. Ever since we took our first steps into this city, we knew that something was waiting for us. The darkness is a tide, lapping at the shore of my sanity, eroding it. Blood seeps from wounds I didn't know I had. The ruins cast insane shadows on the landscape, and they cast a shadow on my mind. The past and the present run together in my mind, and I am a slave rushing to help my master, and I am a woman screaming in the ruins, and I am a god planning wars and wickedness, and I am a sandstorm scouring the lands, and I am myself, alone, exiled.
So that was one of the journals from the Witch Queen. Her story is fairly lengthy, and I have a feeling before we get into the what's going on with the Sandstorm Scourge, we are actually going to go deal with the witch. But that is next time. This time we're going to finish up looking at this over here. These are some of the Relic Hunters, I believe. These are just humans, human exiles like you. Not difficult to kill at all. The terrain makes them a little tougher to deal with, but all in all, nothing you can't handle. Over here we have the main person for them. Not difficult at all, but something you need to, someone you might want to fight. Heart of a Hero. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I'm gonna take that. Die. Eat those. And we'll take that. Alright. Now, tucked in back here, there is a chest. What kind of chest it is? It is just a regular chest. Gave me some gold. Gold's always good. Used in a lot of the alchemical things. Alright. Now we are going to move on to the dragon. Now this is a fairly lengthy fight, so I doubt I'm actually going to do it all right now. But this is where the green dragon is. We already killed one there. There's another spawn of it, and a third, and then the big daddy-o. Not as big as the red mother, but still a very noteworthy dragon. And as I said, back here I have a feeling is something that they haven't actually gotten to doing yet, but I have a feeling it'll be some kind of temple that you come in and need to fight. Now, just so you guys can see how tough he is, he's about just as tough as everything else we've been fighting, and if you let them all stack up like this, you're not going to survive long. And there you have it. After a little bit of a lengthy fight, you will have killed yourself a green dragon. Go ahead and try and get the head. Boom! We got the green dragon head. And then go ahead and harvest it. Get yourself some bone and some flesh. Now, once you killed the green dragon, there is really only one boss left to fight. Now that is the Red Mother. Now she is probably the most difficult thing you will fight in the Exiled Lands. Second to most would be the arena. You'll fight the Undead Dragon, which we will be covering in a later video. Up there is where we fought that one guy with the hammer, and down here, back in the corruption, into what looks like would be the main temple complex for the Unnamed City, but again, it isn't done. There's nothing actually back there yet. But yeah, this is probably the hardest fight you'll get into. It's a big dragon, does a lot of damage, and does not give a crap about you. So your best bet here is to just try and stay underneath the belly of the beast, and then attack up. You might get hit with a couple of AoE attacks, like every time it slams its hand down, it is gonna do a mild bit of damage to you. But this is your best bet, and then when you've had enough, you can just roll away. Don't be afraid to cause bleed damage, and once it's bleeding, GTFO. And down you go. There goes the Red Mother. Dead as dead can be. Now go ahead and loot her, get your fragment of power, and whatever loot you want. And then you can go try and get her head. Oh, and yes, we got the red dragon head. And we call her the Red Mother because she's obviously the mother to all the red dragons, so yeah. But tucked back here is a crap chest, but you can always go loot it if you want, basic items. And then as you can see, definitely somewhere that they're gonna make, but they haven't gotten to yet. Now, as I said before, you can search around and you're gonna find chests quite literally everywhere here. Like, look at this, right over here behind. There's another chest. These things are all over the place with various random things. But before we leave, we're gonna take one look at one place that I know was recently added in, relatively speaking, that is. Nothing new by any means, but it is the back corner, back behind everything in the Unnamed City. So as we come over the hill, we can see that there are more of those ghost essence fighters. I'm not actually sure if there's a tougher one back here or if there's a dungeon or something, so we're gonna just take a quick peek here, see what this is. Wow, they are aggressive, Never be afraid to select a fight. Running past enemies sometimes and not sacrificing your health so you have it for tougher enemies is a wiser idea. Alright, there's not much left to explore. The back sandy parts are mostly just filled with large scorpions. Nothing else to really gawk over. And there's some. As you're exploring around, you might want to be careful as you come around the Aviary. Up top there are more of the bats. Nowhere near as hard as the albino one you fought down below. But if you're not expecting it, can be rather surprising. But again, not difficult to deal with. Now everything does respawn, so if you make your way in here and you've been in here for a while, don't expect to get out too easily unless you just try to run past everything. In fact, that is actually your only option to get out after everything's respawned. Here at the back of the main entrance, or of the main road, we have some kind of ceremony going on with another of the boss guys. So come up here and make short work of this big mamma jamma right here. Seems like he's another one of the lords or something of this place. And eventually you will kill him, and by this point you should have definitely already killed his little lackeys before even fighting him, to be honest. I did it the god way. But then obviously come loot him and get the items you want off him. Come loot the chests. Nothing of here is legendary of any origin, but still, stuff is stuff. Once you finish that, that is pretty much the last thing that there is to fight in the Unnamed City. After you talk to the Archivist, however, you are going to want to make your way back to the archive before you leave the Unnamed City. This time when you enter, when you come back around to the back side of it, don't tell me, come on. Well, normally a ghost should be standing here and he will teach you what to do to make the cartography table. If this happens to you, I've seen this happen before, just exit to the main menu and reload your game. And as I said, reloading the game state tends to actually pop up the Archivist you need to talk to.
Do not be afraid, bonded one. I am just a shadow, a whisper of what once was. Before the fall, when this kingdom raised knighted pillars of black stone to the sky, I was called the Archivist. Have you come to seek a way free of the bonding bracelet, human? There is only one chance, and a very slim one at that. You must assemble the items of power that were present at its creation. The diadem of the Giant Kings, the mask of the Witch Queen, the tears of two races, the star of the Champion, the heart of the Sands, the shining trapezohedron, and the serpent ring of Set. I fear I set you an impossible quest, human.
And so if you talk to him, he will pretty much tell you everything that we are going to be covering on the Exiled Lands. All of the artifacts of power required to remove the bracelets and actually free yourself from the Exiled Lands. For 5 fragments of power, so pretty much if you kill everything in this place and then come to him, you can get a memory of oils? Memory of oils. That's what it says. Weapon oils. Oil of agony. A weapon oil that increases weapon damage temporarily. Oil of penetration. A weapon oil that increases the armor penetration of a weapon. Okay, so these are all modifiers that you can put onto your weapons. Very interesting. Very interesting. That's actually very useful. So you get that from him. Very neat. Okay, and once you're done talking to the Archivist, you now know what, as an exiled, you need to do to actually complete the story of the Exiled Lands. So next time we will be touching on that. Right now we are going to make our way out of the city through that back gate I told you about. Now the reason we're leaving out the back path is because it's probably one of the easier ways to get to the neutral settlement in the desert, where you can actually talk to Conan and get an idea about where we're going next, which is to deal with the Witch Queen. So make your way out of the Unnamed City. Push forward into the desert. You'll notice there is... Now if I pull up my map, we are standing right here, and over to our side is Supermaru, and that is where you see all this greenery over here. That is pretty much where you're going to want to go. So start making your way that way, and then once you get there, we will be resuming from there next time in our next episode. But until then, folks, this is going to do it for us here at Fang of Anubis. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of the Unnamed City as it is currently. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything new. And until next time, my friends, I've been Necron 370. Stay frosty, my friends.